I actually thought that we were going to lose Marisa.
I always had an amazing body because I was a dancer. I didn't realize how much I took that for granted until all of a sudden all the little features that you like about yourself disappear.
She had lost so much muscle that she couldn't even walk up the stairs.
It was heartbreaking to see her just be limited to a couch.
I refused to accept the fact that I had an illness that I was going to have to deal with the rest of my life. I'm like, no, that's not me.
Like so many of us, 19-year-old Marisa Marinelli dreamed of one day performing on Broadway or television. But Marisa's health took a dramatic downward turn when she started experiencing severe digestive problems. The young dancer's hopes and dreams were suddenly being crushed by this unrelenting assault on her body. Marisa was in for the fight of her life.
I'm a performer, I'm a beautiful girl, I'm supposed to be like on a stage somewhere, and I can't even take a car ride, I can't walk down the block. This is kind of like how my life became.
Eventually, she got so weak that we literally had to carry her. There were many doctors out there who, oh, you have ulcerative colitis? We can fix you up. We'll just remove your colon.
Marisa Marinelli was born in Brooklyn, New York. Her life was defined by a love of music and dance.
You could see she had a sense of musicality.
So many videos of us dancing.
Dancing was my life. I started when I was not even 3. I started competing when I was 9 years old. When I got older, there was more competitions and more numbers. You would go to a competition, you'd be doing 9 numbers, 20 costumes, all these pieces. I would dance all day during school, then I would go to dance after school. When I got to high school, I would do theater, dancing there, and then come home and go to my dance classes.
Marisa's strong Italian family heritage was reinforced daily around the dinner table.
When we get together, we're pretty loud. There's a lot of us, and we're just a pretty loud group.
My mom always kind of cooked home-cooked meals as much as she could.
Marisa grew up on cheese. She loved cheese.
A lot of pasta, a lot of tomato sauce, nonna's meatballs.
Nothing was processed. Everything was made from scratch.
I grew up eating really well.
I always prided myself on keeping my kids healthy as can be.
I wasn't allowed to dance class without eating. You have to eat. It's very important to eat.
In 2001, the Marinelli family moved from Brooklyn to Staten Island.
I went to Wagner College in Staten Island. Coincidentally, when I picked my college, my parents picked a house that was 5 minutes away.
Being in college, you can't really say that they follow a healthy lifestyle.
When I came home from rehearsal, you know, it'd be like 10, 11 o'clock at night, and you're starving, you're working all day. There would be a lot of like late night pizza, macaroni and cheese, peanut butter sandwiches, whatever other pasta I can whip up.
Marisa's changes in lifestyle and diet coincided with a sudden downturn in her health.
It was the summer after I finished my first year that all of a sudden I got this stomach virus.
She kept saying, I have diarrhea, I have diarrhea. Nothing too alarming.
I just didn't feel right.
I mentioned it to my brother, and he says, you know, give it to a gastroenterologist for a checkup, which we did. And the doctor just said, well, it was probably an infection, that you picked up some minor food poisoning. He said, if you were an older patient, I probably would suggest a colonoscopy, but you're 19 years old. All of a sudden, she insisted.
Did the colonoscopy, and they're like, well, you know, there's some scar tissue there, but whatever was there has healed up already. So he's like, hopefully it was like maybe a bacteria. I don't want to ever see you in my office again. Okay, great.
But Marisa's relief was short-lived.
It wasn't until about 6 months later.
At around 2 o'clock in the morning, the phone rings. We're sleeping. She's on the phone, hysterical. Mom, I just went to the bathroom and there's blood all over the toilet. How much? She says, a lot.
I think we went to the doctor like immediately, you know, scheduled the colonoscopy like within a day or two.
And he did a colonoscopy. Now, this is her second one. This one There was definite indication that there were ulcers there.
He says, well, I got good news. Good news, he said. You don't have Crohn's disease, but you do have ulcerative colitis.
I had heard of ulcerative colitis, but I never really knew what the ramifications of it were.
It's an autoimmune condition. Your body is attacking itself. Excessive white blood cells that rush to the area of the colon to fight off an infection that's not there, but if there's no bad cells, they just eat your own cells. So they feed off the lining of your intestines, forming an ulcer. I had numerous ulcers, and that was good news. Just good news.
Maurice's doctor prescribed prednisone, a powerful steroid to relieve the inflammation of her gastrointestinal tract.
She kind of had the idea that, okay, well, I took the medicine, I'm going to be fine. Well, because that's what she was used to.
No idea did I expect this to be like a life issue. The doctors always said that they don't have a cure, and basically you have it for life. I'm just going to have to find a way to maintain it. Maintain it, they say. I was prescribed prednisone, which is a cortisone. It's a steroid.
The side effects from the steroids the first time were really scary.
It also makes you store fat in really odd places of the body. So a typical sign is like a moon face.
She had hair on her back, on her shoulders.
You grow like more of a mustache. I never had a mustache. I had a lot of friends who liked to get dressed up and liked to look pretty, and I didn't feel pretty.
The benefits of the steroids began to wear off. Maurice's worsening condition was beginning to overwhelm her.
My symptoms of diarrhea, the bleeding, the blood, they just became so bad, and I started to feel so weak that I just started missing classes.
She had missed about 2 or 3 weeks of classes, and I said, what are you doing? What's going to happen?
Because we were living in Staten Island, we thought, oh, well, out of convenience, let's try a doctor in Staten Island.
He gave her a shopping bag full of medication that was only making her sicker and sicker and sicker.
Every week I would go back and I would be losing more weight because I wasn't eating, and it was just coming out. Like everything was like just coming out. And
eventually we went down to the college, and she had to withdraw. Until we can get a handle on this, she can't make it to classes.
I was going like 18, 20 times a day. I couldn't hold anything in.
I kept going to the doctor, and he kept saying, don't worry. I've been dealing with this. I've been a physician for 25 years. I've been handling ulcerative colitis. She'll be fine. Meanwhile, she kept losing weight.
I was in so much pain. And I said to him, give me drugs, give me pain medicine. He looks at me, he's like, what pain? He's like, what pain? He's like, you're fine.
And he was kind of talking to her as if she was anorexic. And she goes, no, I want to eat. I'm hungry. I want to eat, but I can't eat. It hurts.
He turned around and said to me, if you lose 1 more pound, I'm putting you on a feeding tube. I was like, no, you don't understand. Put me on a feeding tube. I'll gain 20 pounds in like 2 days, and then I'm going to be in the bathroom 30 times a day. It's going to come off in like a week.
Under the constant strain of her severe condition, Maurice's body began to give way to exhaustion. She was falling apart, and no one knew how to stop the downward spiral.
It was a period of 3 months where she literally sat on the couch.
I can't even take a car ride. I can't walk down the block because if I have to go to the bathroom, there's no bathroom there. And this is kind of like how my life became.
She had lost so much muscle that she was walking up the stairs like a 90-year-old woman would walk up the stairs.
Every time I moved, every time I like literally even sat up, I would have to go. I would get up, go, come back, go again, come back, go again. And like, oh my God, it was like, please, stop.
It was really horrible to watch as a parent.
It felt like someone was taking like a razor blade and just kind of like shaving like the insides of my stomach.
Eventually she got so weak that we literally had to carry her to the bathroom.
Once a promising dancer, Marisa was now too weak to walk and a prisoner in her own home.
I didn't want to be home alone, so I would have my grandmother come and stay with me.
I get a call at work from my mom, who's hysterical.
I couldn't hold it in. I definitely couldn't hold it in. So I try to like make my way up the stairs because I spend most of my time in the den, which was downstairs. So I try to make my way up the stairs of our house to the bathroom upstairs.
My mom comes in and finds Marisa in the bathtub. She didn't make it to the toilet.
Okay. 20 years old. I have an amazing life ahead of me. I'm a performer. I'm a beautiful girl. I'm supposed to be like on a stage somewhere doing my thing, and I'm like soiling myself in a tub right now. I just kept thinking about this. Oh my God, is this really happening? I couldn't like believe that this was like my life.
What's to become of her future? You know, is she going to be housebound for the rest of her life? I mean, that was a scary thing.
As if things couldn't get any worse, Marisa's condition took another dramatic turn.
All of a sudden I find this pimple on my leg.
It looked like an innocent blister.
But it was black. So I was like, oh, you know. About a week passed. My whole ankle was like red and it hurts. We rushed to the hospital in Staten Island.
The doctor there says this is related to her colitis and she needs to be admitted.
If I'm gonna be admitted, I'm going into Brooklyn. I wanna be near the doctor that I trust.
She had developed these lesions on the lower extremities. Eventually, over a few days, they start to ulcerate it.
There's so much inflammation in my system that it's gone systemic. I had like 3 more of them pop up on my legs.
The thing just kept growing. It grew till about the size of about $50.
Then it just pops. And when it breaks open, there's just like tissue. It goes very deep.
I asked her doctor, how long is she going to be here? I just figured it'd be a couple of days. He said 2 weeks. He says, this is very serious.
One lesion erupted and ulcerated to the point to where it was very deep and it was close to the bone of the ankle.
He didn't want to tell me how serious it was. She could have possibly lost a leg.
The ulcer could have caused an infection not only in the muscle but to the bone.
Then there's nothing they can do about it. Then they would have to like amputate my leg.
She could have lost her entire colon at that time.
The result of that would have been diarrhea all the time. There wouldn't be any blood, there wouldn't be any ulcerations, but you're gonna have constant diarrhea. That was not an option for me. I was like, you're not doing surgery. I don't care what you're doing. You're not doing surgery on me.
She was placed on high doses of IV corticosteroids.
Little by little, my ulcers started going away. I walked out of there just completely empty. Empty of life, empty of energy. I sacrificed every part of my health just to live.
Here's a kid that was jumping and turning and leaping and now couldn't even walk.
I would just kind of like lay back and close my eyes, and I thought I wasn't gonna wake up. Like, what if I just like pass away right now?
Ulcerative colitis was destroying Marisa Marinelli's hope for a normal life. She was unable to leave her home due to extreme, persistent intestinal distress. Drugs only provided temporary relief. She was desperate for something, anything that might help.
All of a sudden, I'm like, what are you doing? You are not supposed to be doing this. You have a whole life ahead of you, and there has to be something else out there.
I'd say it took about a process of 2 years for her to completely come around and say, I have to take my life into my own hands because nobody else is going to do it for me.
I joined a support group with the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America.
They put her in touch with a girl who was close to her age, who was in the area.
She had ulcerative colitis too. She said, I'm reading this book.
In her book, Controlling Crohn's Disease the Natural Way, Virginia Harper shares how she overcame Crohn's by following a macrobiotic diet and living a healthier lifestyle.
It just hit me really hard. Everything in there, that's exactly how I feel. It was like the first time somebody actually understood what I was going through. When people first hear the word macrobiotics, you think a little like hippie-ish and you think a little out there, abstract. I didn't know what to think.
Sounded like another textbook word that I was like, I don't know what that means.
This must be a sign. Like, I'm meant to read her book, I'm meant to meet her. I'm ready to try something. I'm ready to try something new.
She has some recipes at the end of the book, and we're trying to figure out how to make kuzu tea. And she, again, was not feeling well that night. 10 o'clock at night, both of us crying, frustrated. What do we do? I says, give her a call and ask her. And she did.
She called and woke me up, and very apologetic and desperate also.
So sorry to bother you. We're trying to make the umabushi kuzu tea, and how much umabushi plum do we use? I have no idea.
And I gave instructions and told her try these things to help her settle down. And I said if that doesn't work, to call me back. But I felt like it would settle her for the night, and it did.
The next day she called to check in on me. How you feeling today?
Marisa instinctively felt that Virginia Harper's macrobiotic approach was right for her. She had to meet her.
So we set up a consultation with her.
I spent the first few minutes just putting them at ease. And I found across the board that's what people are wanting, is to hear that little bit of hope.
She wasn't like what I thought she was gonna be. She was so grounded.
When you deal with conditions like digestive breakdown, then I take a look at the person's symptoms and what the body can handle and take them forward from there.
She had this whole list of all these foods.
She outlined what vegetables that were beneficial for her.
I hated vegetables. The only thing I ate was broccoli and string beans.
She was a typical young person eating fast food, living a very fast lifestyle in New York City.
There were small changes that started to take place in like the kitchen and in our diets.
It was hard. It was really hard. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't have any recipes. I didn't know how to cook. The first time I asked my mom was, how do you boil rice?
I said that you can get your strength back to go back to dancing. And I think that of everything, she held on to that.
Marisa was inspired by Harper's counsel, but wanted to learn more practical macrobiotic skills. Miss Harper suggested she visit the Kushi Institute in Massachusetts.
Just to be in this peaceful environment, that was just a life-changing experience. Watching other people eat so calmly and learning so much about the food. And it's all about energy, and this is all about how to cook it, seeing how to cook it.
She was working part-time. She had just graduated, and so she was cooking for herself.
I would burn stuff, overcook stuff, undercook stuff, but I was cooking.
But she was saying to me, you know, Mom, you know what daikon does for you? It makes you detoxify, and then I go out and buy a whole bunch of daikon.
I just felt better and better. My symptoms went away within a week. No blood, no diarrhea. I was completely off all medication, nothing. A month later, I jumped out of bed, and I was like, something's wrong with me. Like, what is going on here? It was unbelievable.
Marisa could hardly wait to return to the dance studio and confirm that she was better.
I was so thankful to just be in the studio again. You could see the joy that came out of me dancing. I'm dancing again. It's like so amazing. It was so amazing. But before I was sick, I guess I was very superficial. All of a sudden I wanted to be more connected to the world. So I started to reevaluate my life. I knew it was really important to just be happy, because I was not happy before this. I wanted to get up in front of people, and I wanted to tell them about my story, and I wanted to tell them about my experience and how amazing I felt right now, and just completely put myself out there. I wanted to do Miss America pageant. And I just wanted to get up, promote my platform, which was controlling Crohn's and colitis through lifestyle and diet.
There's a picture of her in the bathing suit competition where she just looks like an aerobics instructor herself. She just looked healthy.
Marisa placed in the top 10 in the Miss New York State pageant.
Having a title put me in the newspaper, allowed me to make appearances, talk about my experience, talk about how great I was feeling.
She danced at that pageant. She danced beautifully.
I wanted to inspire. You don't have to give in to what the doctors say. There's something else out there that you can do to heal yourself.
I really do believe that macrobiotics has saved my sister's life.
I wouldn't have been active at all. I wouldn't definitely not been dancing. Probably would have lost all, if not definitely part of my colon. I would have still be on drugs permanently, and I would not be as happy as I am right now. I'm just so thankful for everything.
Marissa's personal journey of illness and recovery has inspired her to pursue a master's in nutrition and become a nutritional dietitian. She also plans to go back to the Kushi Institute to earn her macrobiotic certificate, and, of course, she continues to express herself through dance. For more information on Marissa Marinelli and ulcerative colitis, visit our website. I'm Jewel. Join us next time for another remarkable story of personal triumph on The Incurables.